All right, GOhioCast podcast. It's Iron Man week, and what a better guest to have as we light up the place than Faith Christian Academy out of Pennsylvania, Coach Ben Clymer. Coach Clymer, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for having me on your show here. This is a high honor.
Well, I appreciate you showing up here tonight. First things first, you guys are out of Quakertown, Pennsylvania. Do I have that correct?
That's it, man. Quakertown.
Okay, give us a geographical relationship to Philly, to Pittsburgh, to Harrisburg, wherever you guys are.
Pittsburgh's far away, man. Nobody wants anything to do with it. This is Philly Nation, Eagles, Phillies, Sixers, Flyers. Pittsburgh is far, far away. We are like Eastern PA, right in the middle. I oftentimes tell my Long Island family in New York, it's between Allentown and Philadelphia, but it's pretty close to Lehigh Valley, probably just 10 minutes outskirts of Lehigh Valley. So yeah, man.
So we'll call it Lehigh Valley. Is that okay, or do I have to fight you on Friday when I see you?
Dude, I love that connotation. I went to high school in the Lehigh Valley. I love being able to say I'm a District 11 Lehigh Valley kid. So no, I like that.
Okay, so you actually went to Hofstra, though, correct?
I did. Yep.
So you were a. They were not Flying Dutchman when you were. They were Pride, right?
Yeah, it was a Hofstra Pride when I was there, but the Flying Dutchman was like an epic. We like to regurgitate that, you know what I mean? Still put that on some apparel and have like the flags around for different tailgates and stuff. Flying Dutchman, pretty epic name.
So where did you actually go to high school?
Northwestern Lehigh High School in PA.
I saw maybe one of your guys pinned a Northwestern. Would Waters pin a Northwestern Lehigh guy in the finals last year?
Did, yeah, yeah. Luke Fugazzotto, that kid's a stud. Obviously, Adam is stud, but yeah, Luke's a great kid. That's the alma mater. They're doing really well. Coach Kalar has that program headed in the right direction. Full lineup, some talent. Yeah, man, love to say I'm from there.
So are you a Willie guy then? Are you a Willie Sailor guy? Is that like your mascot? You'll see him, you'll rub his bald head. Like, are you a Willie guy? I'm a Willie guy. I'm not gonna lie to you. I know
So
there's a lot of Willie guys out there. I'm a Willie guy.
you gotta be careful how many times you say you're a Willie guy, man. You're gonna lose the people.
Credibility?
So I one of my high school coaches was Mike Williams, and he was not a we were state runner-ups as a dual team, and like he was a great coach, tough guy, but he's not like a well-known name at all. Because he was not a wrestler himself, and like that's what I thought you were saying. Like you're a Willie guy. I'm like, oh my
I'm,
goodness,
I'm a
how did you
Willie
know Mike Williams?
Sailor, Lehigh Valley, Easton,
Yeah.
Pennsylvania guy is what I'm saying to you.
He's a legend, man. Like a lot of those Easton guys grew up watching them. So yeah, Willie's a legend, and obviously like everything he's doing on the streaming side of things, what he says is gold. So first time I started getting hit up by him, I knew it was I knew I had some good guys wrestling for me.
It
So
was getting real. Coach Clymer, it was getting real. You
yeah, it
had
was getting real,
guys
man.
then. I love it. So you did you grow up watching like Coach Snyder, Jamar Billman, obviously Willie Saylor. Did you grow up watching those Easton teams then?
So yes, but like I have an older brother. He was state champ. He loved wrestling. So he could sit with you and like talk through all those names, and he was watching it and going to Lehigh matches. I growing up, I liked wrestling and I was on good teams, but I would tell anybody like I'm a football player. I'm going to play football in college. Wrestling is just, I contribute to a good team. So I was not like in love with the sport. I was not like idolizing and following those guys. It's not to take anything away from them, but I know who they were. I'm aware of like, yeah, we were watching them and hearing about them and reading about them in the morning call, but my brother could have a better conversation as to all their stats and just how good they were. I was not real bought in until later in my high school career. So
So you won a Pennsylvania state title as well?
I did. Yeah.
You and your brother, or is there more?
Yeah. So I have five brothers. There's five of us boys, four girls. 9 Clymer kids. Yeah, be careful coming around the Lehigh Valley.
I will. I'm gonna watch my back now.
So yeah, I think 3 of us has got a state title. Scotty, the oldest, me, and then my little brother Caleb, is state champ. Went out to Lock Haven. Yeah,
Okay, I think I called one of your matches back in the day on Flow Wrestling, probably against Edinburgh. Is that correct?
yeah, it could have been. I
It would have
wrestled.
been like you versus Honeycutt or
Yeah,
versus
yeah,
Vic Avery, maybe. I don't know if you're Honeycutt or Vic Avery's age. I forget.
yeah. Honeycutt, he would have been 2 years older, but we only wrestled. I think we only wrestled them twice. And I think I wrestled Honeycutt and lost, but that was before he jumped up to 97 too. I mean, he was slapped together at 84, and yeah, I think I wrestled him my freshman year and lost.
I think I called the match, dude. I was just
Yeah,
like, I was looking back and Googling some things and I found that and I was like, I think I called that match. And I remember, I usually kind of remember things like that. Was Coach Shiflett your head coach, Tom Shiflett?
that's my guy. That's my
Whole
guy,
time,
Tommy Shibble.
all your years?
So my senior year is when he stepped away. Um, he realized there was no talent left, and then walked. No, I'm just kidding. He was there to my junior year, and then Rob Anspach, and that's the guy who ultimately recruited me. He wrestled for Tom Ryan just before Shiflett came on. So Rob Anspach was my coach my senior year, but Shiflett was my coach first 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that's on the Strong Island too, right? So it's on
yeah.
the Strong Island, Long Island, right?
That's it, man.
Upstra-
A lot of Guidos up there prefer to call it Strong Island.
Okay. So are you a teacher at Faith Christian Academy?
I was. I got my degree in teaching from Hofstra, phys ed, health, and subbed up on the line for 2 years, and then took the gig back at Faith Christian, teaching phys ed and health. Was the assistant AD. Then I got the athletic director job. And then my wife and I started having kids, and it was just the plate was full. It's a small Christian school, wear a lot of hats, and so I stepped away and I do construction for my dad's construction company now. So I've done that for 4 years.
Okay, so I'm a teacher, I'm an educator, but not at
Yes.
a private school, I'm in a public school. Talk about the difference between when you're able to step away from an education position,
Yeah.
teacher, athletic director, assistant AD, coach, right? You step and now you go into the corporate world, you go into the contractor world, which is so different than
Yeah.
education because most educators are on like 183, 185-day contract.
Yeah.
But how much different is it now from not being in the classroom? Or the gym, as some people might say to you.
Yeah.
How much
Sure.
different is it?
There's a lot of differences. Obviously, like a good. I feel like I'm meant to, be a coach, be a mentor. It's kind of how God's wired me, and so the fact that I get to still coach wrestling and help out with the club scene with the youth kids from time to time, like I still get my fill. So that's made the transition doable. But yeah, it's different. Just different days, you're grinding it out in a different way. But I think one of the things that's been like healthy for me is like because I'm there in school. Like I said, I wear a lot of hats. So I'm like the disciplinarian and I'm driving bus. Like I'm just around these kids all the time. And so I just like in their business a lot. You shouldn't be hanging out with those kids. Watch out for that. What are you doing here? I hear this teacher talking about you. And it probably made a lot of my relationships when I came to the wrestling room then, like, it was just, you know, whatever. It was overloaded. So the fact that I am not in their world all the time and there's just a genuine excitement to see them. Like I didn't see who they're hanging out with and necessarily like what was going on during their day. I'm pumped up to see them. It's a really healthy thing for me as a coach and obviously the most important thing just on the home front. Like I'm not getting home and worried about middle school girls soccer and the coach and what happened to that referee. Like I get home, I turn my mind off. I'm with my wife and kids, and so that's uh that's a big blessing.
Middle school girls soccer ref getting yelled at by a parent. That
Just
literally sounds like a nightmare of mine. I'm not gonna lie to you. That sounds like You couldn't pay me enough to do that job.
Man,
Like
man,
those are some pretty unsung hero jobs, I say. A lot of those
100%.
assistant ADs and those ADs and those lower grades. Oh man,
Yeah.
you sir are a saint. I could not do that.
Yeah. Well, look,
No.
neither can I apparently. All right.
Okay, so what kind of contractors are you guys? Are you a general? Are you concrete? Are you electricians? What are you?
Yeah, so we're definitely like a nice mixed bag. We do predominantly a lot of like concrete masonry work, but we'll do like 4 to 5 garages, additions, homes, like bigger projects, and then fill in the gaps with because like we finish homes, additions, garages, we can fill in the gaps with roofs and siding jobs and
You
stuff
can
like that. So
frame, you can do it all.
yeah, we do it all. We'll do best in a year when we focus on concrete, block, masonry, and then, you know, 3 or 4 big projects. If we start doing a lot of fill-in work that is just finished work, or even like some of the framing, like just takes a little bit longer. So yeah, we do well when it's a lot of concrete, masonry, and then 3 or 4 bigger projects. But a little bit of everything, man.
How many total employees in your dad's company?
Just 4.
Four.
Yeah, just 4. Basically,
You, your dad.
brother and one other guy. Yeah, the oldest, Scotty.
Does it ever evolve into a fist fight or a wrestling match?
No, no, but there's definitely some contentious days working with family. But I mean ultimately we wouldn't do it if we didn't love each other and get along for the most part. So it's a good thing, man. I'm very grateful.
So my dad and my brothers kind of all work together, and a cousin. They're iron workers. My one brother's an operator, and then I got a brother that's an iron worker. My oldest brother Ferd. I got a cousin Jake who's an iron worker. My dad's and wasn't is an iron worker. And then my grandfather was an iron worker as well. And I think that there might have been
Well,
some fights or some knockdown dragouts, definitely. And they work for a structural steel company out of Toledo. And the Blazes, so
yeah,
like all the Blazes, all up and down. There's 4 generations of Blazes. There's 3 that are iron workers. So the grandpa. So you got the grandpa, and then the dad of Marcus and Joey Blaze, who's Joe Blaze, and all those other guys are Joe Blaze. They're iron workers too, and then they were the business agents. They were
nice,
smart guys who figured out how to get my dad's pension invested, got him into an annuity, and now my dad lives real well off of
nice.
iron worker retirement. So they're iron workers. It got chippy a lot of the time with them, and they'd get into it. And that, like these are physical jobs. When you're talking about concrete,
Yeah,
that's physical work. I don't know
it's
if
setting
people get
up. It's
that, do
not
they?
waiting for you. Like you
Oh,
better get on it, man. Yeah. So
it is
I would say
not.
like
Oh,
because I grew up laboring for my dad when I was young, but then went away to school, got an education. So there was a dozen years there where I wasn't, and so the fact that I've only been with it for 4 years does help that. Maybe him and my brother who have been working together longer. There's a fist fight I don't know about somewhere in there, but it's kind of like a nice scene for me to come in. Fresh blood, you know what I mean? But like there is a plan and a vision for like the summertime, for there to be like a 10-week, 12-week contract with wrestlers saying, "Hey, you want to make some summer money and get tougher physically and mentally." Here's what it looks like, man. We just have to get ourselves to that place. But obviously have the connection with the wrestlers and understand that line of work. So yeah, man, we're trying to do that blaze thing in the concrete industry in the Lehigh Valley.
so you come back home. What draws you to Faith Christian after Hofstra? How do you end up there, and how do you get the job there?
So my uncle, not to keep everything in the family, but my uncle is principal at Faith Christian Academy. While I didn't grow up down there, both of my parents graduated from that school, and so just like the Clymer lineage is was down there in that Percy Sellersville area. And so we when I was born, like moved up to the Lehigh Valley, so we weren't around a lot of it. So it still was somewhat random. It's not like I was supposed to go back to faith and teach. Like I didn't really have the ties, but it happened to be at a point where like I was still living with college buddies. I wasn't gaining a lot of discipline in my lifestyle, and I happened to get a call from my uncle. It's like, "Yo, we want to start a wrestling team. We got a phys ed health position open. What do you think?" Um, so I prayed about it, gave it some thought, and ultimately took the job. I was dating Long Island girl at the time and was not totally sure if she was gonna follow me back if we were serious enough, but she ended up looking for work back in PA and landed a job, followed me back there, and now that's my wife of almost 10 years. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But had a family member that was a principal and was looking for a clean slate. So it was just really great timing.
Sounds like it's going pretty good.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Okay,
Pretty good.
so you won double A last year, which is the small division in PA, correct?
Yes.
So then
Yeah.
there's triple A, whichever. Listen, I had a LaBeouf roommate in college, Fort LaBeouf,
Nice.
Northwest PA guy. So I always heard about it, and they were double A, and it was always like whoever won the triple A, right? That's the big school division.
Yeah.
You guys would have been the pound for pound champs last year, correct?
Probably.
I,
But yeah.
okay, relax. You'd have been okay. I'm saying it. You guys you won the duels. You beat
Yeah.
Reynolds in the semis, and then you beat McCourt in the finals, correct?
Yes.
And then
Reynolds might have been a first round or quarterfinal. Maybe it was a McDevitt, who's a really good team.
McDevitt's the third. They were third. They were third in the division, correct?
Yeah, yeah, and they're loaded this year too. I don't know if enough people are talking about them, but they haven't snuck by us. They're on the bulletin board in the room. They're a really talented group, well coached. So, but yeah, beat McCourt in the finals. It's awesome.
So you beat McCourt in the finals, and you kind of ran away with it, right? You beat them like 42-19 or something like that, right?
Yeah,
So you guys kind of put it on them a little bit.
yeah.
Then in the state tournament, how many times did you match up with either McDevitt or McCourt in the semis or finals?
I'm not like I couldn't give you that answer honestly. Like, do you have it?
No, no,
Oh,
no. We're winging it. We're throwing it
yeah,
against the
no, we're
wall right
winging
now.
it.
Figure it
Yeah,
out. But
I definitely do not have that stat, and the kids will tell you that. Like, I'm not, you know,
I was
kind
just
of like
looking at it. Hold on. I was just looking at it, and that's the luxury of doing this. We can just look at it. I'm good
yeah.
with all right. I'm all right with looking at it. I think it kicked me over to Flow Arena, and I was looking at it, but it looks like you guys here. I'll just look at the bracket. So you had Bachman win at 7, right?
Yeah.
Joey.
Yep.
Joey won at 7. Yeah, well, I don't know why it does this to me, man. This thing it'll do stuff to you. These
Yeah.
phones, man, they don't do what you want them to do, right? Not all the time. Man, it's trying to get me to subscribe to things, and I just want to look at brackets. You know what I mean?
I'll
Just
peek with you.
okay. So, oh wow, now it's giving me the team championships, I guess. Which hold on, let's look at the team. The double A championships brackets. You guys in the quarterfinals, you guys beat Notre Dame Green Pond, and then
Yep.
McDevitt in the semis, and then it was McCourt in the finals. So that was your team path. You must have had Reynolds first. Hold on, I'm gonna go back and see.
Yeah. Reynolds was that
You
first
had
one.
Reynolds first. You beat him 54-9.
Yep.
Okay, so did they seed this? Were you the 2 seed?
No, because the year before, um, we wrestled Notre Dame in the quarterfinals, I believe it was, and that was like, that was the finals, and so it's just like a predetermined situation. It's usually based on a 2-year cycle. So the
Your
PIAA
region?
puts
Does your
out
region play into it at all?
totally random because like I don't know if it's going to change this year. I
Really?
think it will because they've already put out what it's going to look like, but it's not like based on geographical location because it's all held at the Giant Center. So they just random draw 2-year cycle. Here's what it's going to look like. This district champ wrestles this district runner up. Here's your bracket and then they change it so it isn't the same year in year out. But yeah, that happens
Oh,
a lot. Like
I
where
like
the
that.
Yeah,
that's like a UWW wrestling how they used to do it. Like, it's on the
sure.
best. Let's have Yazdani versus Taylor first round.
I know.
I
I
don't like
know.
that. Do you like that? I don't like that.
It's not that I like it, but I am very quick to tell the guys because like a lot of their parents, it should be this way. We should be wrestling the finals. So as the kids hear me talk about it, like it's just very unemotional. Like, dude, I could care less. Put them in the first round. Like I don't, none of that demands my attention or focus because it's not something I have control over. I'm not on a voting committee or anything else. So yeah, ideally you get the best in the finals together, but if they have us wrestling in a back alley in the middle of the state somewhere, then let's go, man. It
I
doesn't.
prefer the Giant Center though. I think the Giant Center is a good spot.
I know, and the Giant Center didn't take the bid for team states this year, so we'll still have individuals at the Giant Center, but to my knowledge, like they still have not announced a host site for team state championships. And so, like, I don't know if that's going to alter brackets, if they're going to do something like basically what you're insinuating, geographical, this district will wrestle
Or
this
seed
district.
it, seed it,
Could
just
be,
seed it.
could be. So yeah, we got to
Okay,
figure out team state championships this year. Not sure.
so dude, this is gonna be a war. I mean, you guys in McDevitt and McCourt is just
It's awesome.
it's gonna be like Texas Chainsaw Massacre war. Like this is I look at these teams and I'm like, oh my god, double it. It's as good as it's ever been.
Wild. It's
Dude,
wild, man. It's
hold
real
on,
cool.
hold on. Okay, so here we go. Here we go. To our information, right? So Bachman beat Deputy. He beat Deputy in the state
Yeah.
finals. Okay.
Yeah. Headlocked them.
What did he it doesn't give me the score. Whatever. Okay. Aiden Smith won.
6-1 or 6-2. He beat him.
Okay. It doesn't, it's not. Oh, yeah, it does. 6-1. 6-1.
Yeah.
Aiden Smith won it. He beat the dude from Trinity. Guy from North Lebanon beat Music of McDevitt. Jax Forrest beat Vargo. Looks like Harar. Harer or Harar? How do you say that name?
First one, Harris.
Hair.
Yeah.
Hair won. He beat a McDevitt guy. So McDevitt had two runners up. Oh my gosh. Then it shows. I don't know why it doesn't.
That Grayson Music kid had the tournament of his life at 120. Gage Batero's our 120. He was a state champ the year before. He was a Fargo champ this summer. He was really banged up going into that state tournament. But he lost to like Louis Gill from Reynolds when he was healthy. So it's not like giving him a crutch, but like he bashed that Grayson Music kid, majored him, teched
Really?
him, where he did. And then that Grayson Music kid like beat Louis Gill from Reynolds. Just yeah, him making the finals was amazing. And he kept that momentum into his offseason. He's a talented bugger. I didn't see it when he wrestled Gage, but yeah. Yeah, it was a good bracket.
So Jax Forrest won. He had a tech in the finals. Harer won. Bo Bassett, Tech Fall. Minji, is it?
Yeah, Minji. He
Okay.
freshman came out of nowhere.
Milheim won at 145. Miller won for McCourt. 2-1 over. Whoa, that must have. What was that? Tell me about your 52 final. Melvin versus
You
Stein.
make me relive it. I know what the match was. Stein beat him in the team state finals. Like that team state championship is awesome. We lost Magro versus Kale Weidemoyer. It was a good match. Definitely love to have it back. Might see it back if he's going 65 for this weekend. I don't know what weight Magro is yet. He's a stud too. But we won pretty much every other match. Hans over Herring, Max over Miller. Like that team state final was awesome. And so Max had a repeat against Melvin, and Melvin might have even been like a little banged up. And so Max Stein's thing is he is so talented. He's so hard to prep for. He's 6'10", and just he's fast, he's lengthy, he's technical, he blankets you on top. But if he's going to like reach his full potential, like he's got to keep scoring points. He's so capable of it. But in that match, like Melvin was, you could tell he was favoring his knee. Max got the lead, was hanging out. Melvin takes an injury time with like 30 seconds left, gets one more gusto to him, gets on our leg, and we fend it off for 15, 20 seconds and give up the takedown with like I don't know, man, 5 or 6 seconds left. That was a heartbreaker. So yeah,
Okay, and
hopefully,
then you had another close one at 60 with
yeah, yeah.
with
I had to wipe the
with
tears real
Kale,
quick, put a smile on for Kale.
Kale Whitemoyer. Okay.
Yeah, and he
Dude,
wrestled
you guys
older
are
version
loaded.
of
You guys are freaking loaded. Your state fight. This is
Thanks.
how I love talking. Is everybody back? Every guy I've named back,
Yeah,
and you've added the younger Bachman, and you slid Joey
yeah,
up, right?
yeah.
You added a Bach, so you're better actually than what I'm announcing right now.
On paper, yeah, we
Oh my
so
god.
yeah, it's all about how you spread out because like we'll lose 3 seniors this year, so um next year, I don't know, like everyone gets a year older. You don't lose a ton of people, but I think next year, like we're not going to have anybody under 145 pounds. Like everyone's just going to say, I'm done with cutting weight. But yeah, honestly, we lost one senior, Cody Wagner. He was a state placer, went out to Little Rock, Arkansas, but everyone else is back. And yeah, team solid, man.
Waters, Pins,
Fuzi.
Fugazetto.
Yeah.
What, dude? You got so when I'm like, hey, who's the guy I got to talk to? I ask Haddad who I talked to. He's like, you got to talk to Clymer.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I'll talk to Clymer. And I've been looking at your guys' results throughout the day, and just and it's just like to be educated on it. So was Bachman? How many? What is your guys'? So we're Iron Man week, right? We're obviously
Yeah.
previewing Iron Man, talking about you guys, McCourt, McDivitt. Um, this is a year where I don't know if Blair is going to be factoring into the championships as much as they have. They've owned this tournament on and off for 25, 30 years, man. I mean,
Yeah,
they've
long
always
time.
been a factor, right?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be you guys, obviously McCourt, obviously Sam,
Yeah.
Malvern Prep always brings real good guys. It's Stillwater there. There's Stillwater there.
Stillwater's there.
Stillwater. I mean,
Broken Arrows there. Like
dude, you cannot factor those teams out. They got guys. Edmond North is usually
is
there.
Lake Edmond North will be a factor. Lake
Yeah,
Highland, are they coming up for it?
Lake
Lake
Highland
Highland Prep?
Prep is always. I mean, dude, we're talking about this field is just so deep. Perrysburg's got a team. St. Paris Graham's got a team. St. Edward's got a team. They're not in the state finals in football this year, so that team could look a little different. So top to Massillon Perry, you always got great teams, and then obviously you bring Reynolds. They're always there.
Yeah.
You just got it's dude. It's the Iron Man. It's what it is. It's the toughest in tournament or in season tournament in the United States of America. Has been for 30 years.
Yeah.
What do you guys got to do? What do those guys got to do? Is there a number on finalists? I know that this is stuff that doesn't occupy your mind and your energy because you can't control it, right? But you
Yeah.
can control it and you can control your guys and getting them ready. Do you have a number in mind? Placers? What do you got to do?
No, I mean you sent me like that graphic of like guys that could win. There's some guys that like quote unquote should win. You know what I mean? If they wrestle to the potential, they're the best guy in the bracket, whatever. Um, I won't list their names here. But there's a number of guys that weren't on the list that you sent me that I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to be the least bit surprised when they win it. Not like place, not like have a good tournament, but when they win it. Like I know how our guys are wired and guys that a lot of people aren't talking about necessarily. So, but the biggest thing, kind of like you already alluded to, like it's just if you start to go in and go, I could wrestle this guy and I better start planning for, jacked force slide by and like, dude, there's 100 guys like that in the bracket. Like you could be picked to win it, pick the place and go 1-2. Like it's not that crazy. And so it's not that crazy for you to go 1-2 and all of a sudden just not be even in the conversation because it's that talented. There's so many 3-2 matches. You get a call, you get an injury, you get just crazy, crazy tournament, crazy talent. So the biggest piece that I try to like get my guys focused on is like you get to try to practice a mindset of being excited for the big match because it's probably going to come in the round of 32. You're going to hit some absolute stud, and you're not quite ready for it. It's not the semifinals. Like, are you really excited about that? Or are you scared to death about possibly getting like upset? And if you're ticking the right way, you're just pumped up for every big match that you can log, every big match that you could put on film so you can break it down so you can keep getting better. The point is to do well at Ironman because it's the best tournament in season tournament in the nation, but it doesn't ultimately define us. We're trying to peak towards the end of our season and even just like the sport of wrestling, it's a big thing of how we tick and what we preach is like we want to be known as followers of Christ. And that's what our identity is found in. The sport of wrestling is amazing and we're really grateful we get to pursue it. But like if everything is gripping you based on how you perform based on your ranking at Ironman, like you lost a battle, man. Like you've lost a battle. You got to take a step back. You got to put things into perspective. And once you like really enjoy the fight and really enjoy whatever's going to happen this weekend, like not only are you going to have fun, but you probably will win it. So I'm really looking forward to see how the guys do with balancing all that pressure and expectation. And if I see him smile, if I see a little gleam in their eye, if I see him taking it all in stride, I know we'll be lifting that trophy at the end of Saturday. So
It's what's weird, what's crazy about it actually, and weird at the same time is you talk about it. You want to peak for the state tournament. You want to win the state tournament. Giant Center state title should be the ultimate
yeah,
apex, the top of the season. It should be the ultimate goal.
yeah,
You don't win Ironman, you can't win the national title. You can't, and I understand it's like the will. I'm a Willie guy. It's a Willie Sailor giving you the tutor, Josh Lowe, or you know what I mean. You get my point. Like
yeah, yeah,
in
yeah,
magazine or whoever. They're in there. It's like this title that they're giving out, and you got Sam and Blair. They've won the last however many between the two of them, right? Double
yeah,
digits. And I think the last team to win this tournament that's not Sam or Blair is St. Ed's or St. Paris Graham, I think. I mean, if we go back and look at it, I think those are the last two teams who weren't Blair or Sam that won this tournament.
yeah.
That's
I guess
dude,
my
that's
biggest
crazy.
thing
That's crazy, right?
crazy. It's crazy, man. But my biggest thing is like, and I have to try to be like mature beyond my experience because like, the group that I get to coach, you just were rattling off other names and where they're going to school and what they've placed. Like it's amazing, right? And it's not like I've coached this type of group for the last decade and I'm used to being on the big stage. I'm used to, Zeb hit me up for a podcast. Like I'm not used to a lot of this stuff. So I have to try to be mature beyond it. But I really do want the kids to like understand, okay, Iron Man is right at the beginning of the season. It does have implications on what our national rank is going to be, and if we even have a shot at being the best team in the nation. And there is a pressure because I truthfully believe if you look on paper, we have the best team in the nation. I believe that. So it's incumbent upon me as a coach to arrive at that status. But my goodness, like what these kids do at world team qualifiers like really matters, and what they do at world championships and what they do at Fargo, and then what they do at Super 32, and then what they do to start their scholastic season at Ironman. Like if you're not careful, like at what point are you pausing to like just show gratitude to your parents for all that they're doing for you? If you're not careful, at what point are you like serving other people and not just worried about what somebody says you're ranked? And so we're so pumped up that we're in the position we're in and people are talking about us and we have this opportunity to like win Ironman and therefore go on to be ranked whatever. But no way is it going to swallow us up. No way is it going to like rule every inch of our minds and like God forbid we don't win it. No, that's not how we tick. That's not how we're wired. So we're gonna throw down. Besides having a 7 pounder, we're pretty healthy and we'd like our chances of showing well. But
Is
yeah.
Fred okay? Okay, I don't know. Is Freddie not in this week?
No, 7 pounder, Shane Young, Nathan Yoder, they're both injured and they'll we probably won't bring him back for Beast either, just because they're recovering, but they'll be back for January. But no, Freddie will be in at 14. His weight cut, 13 rather.
Yeah.
His weight cut's significant, but it is doable. If it wasn't, we wouldn't have him there. And so he needed to realign, find some discipline. He's used to wrestling a lot of competitions where he's weighing in a day before and all of a sudden he's kind of cutting down the week of and feeling like crap. So we didn't wrestle him last week against Shamana, but I think he left practice today at 2 pounds over. Like he's got himself locked in and yeah, he'll be there, man.
let's say, okay, first off, I got to commend you on, you guys are faith-based and you're living by tenets, obviously, of the Bible. And,
Yeah,
you're trying to have your guys, help other people, be a person of service, help
yeah,
others, serve. I really like the message because I think in wrestling, a lot of the time, it becomes such a me, because, you got to be selfish. You got to want it. You
yeah,
got at some point you got to look in the mirror and be like, well, what am I doing here? What kind of
yeah,
person am I? Right? Like, and I think that gets lost in the mix a lot of time in the sport of wrestling.
sure.
It really does. And obviously, you're trying to like mentor these kids to, hey guys, I have a degree to be a teacher, but I can also go out and do other things. You don't want them to be limited as people, right?
Sure.
Maybe you don't want them pouring concrete, all the time. It's tough
Just for a couple summers starting
for a
next year.
couple
We got to
summers,
get this thing
right,
off
to
the
get
ground.
mentally tougher. But like maybe you want, these guys are going to have opportunities to go to Ivy League schools. They're going to have a chance to go to all the great schools in the Big Ten, the Big 12. They're going to go to the West Coast, East. They're going to be all over, right? They're going to have a lot of opportunity. Your guys are good guys. They're blue chippers, right? But if you're looking at this, I'm looking at that list I sent you, right? We don't need to throw the names out.
Yeah.
You have four guys ranked number one in the state in PIAA, double A. McCord has four guys ranked.
Mhm.
If you guys go and those four guys can make the finals and their four guys can make the finals, what has to happen for you guys to ultimately win the Walsh Ironman in 2024?
So I mean, it comes down to a lot of those guys. I can't even believe like calling them like, you know, the supporting cast guys. The supporting cast guys are committed to big Division I colleges too. They're absolute studs. But say the guys that aren't like picked to win it, are they placing high? Are they getting bonus points? Are they, they take a loss? Maybe there's an unexpected loss, a kid that wasn't seeded, it just happens all the time and it's really not that crazy. So like when that loss happens, do you tuck your tail? Do you start thinking about not having to cut the 4 pounds you have to get off that night in order to be ready for the next day? Like if we just handle those pieces and continue to battle, like I really do think our supporting cast is superior to um all the other teams that are going to be out there. And so um yeah, man. Some of that's going to come down to like the draw, who you getting coming down in the consies. You know what I mean? Sometimes somebody gets upset and you got some nationally ranked stud and one of your studs gets knocked out in those wrestlebacks and that plays a factor. But yeah, it's everybody just staying excited to compete no matter what situation you find yourself in the finals, semis, consi, wrestlebacks, blood round. Like if you love to step on that line and you're grateful for every opportunity you get, I really do believe it. Our team is the best in the nation on paper, and I get to watch them practice every day. I get to see their body of work in the off season, what time they wake up in the morning. It might not be heavily broadcasted, but I see it. It's out there, and so I really do believe it. I just think we got the best team, and if they show up and they keep wrestling, even in the Conti round, that's how we're going to make up that point and win the tournament. So.
Would it shock you if Whittemore or Stein was the OW at the Ironman? Would either of those guys shock you if they won the tournament? Stein gets revenge from the state finals, knocks off Melvin. Maybe they're not in the same weight. We don't even know. Whatever. Would it shock you if either one of those guys won the Ironman?
Based on them, it would not shock me. When I see the brackets come out, like I know that there's a bunch of studs that are floating around those midweights. So if you're telling me Ladarian Lockett is at Kale Whitemore's weight and Kale wins and is the OW, like, yeah, I'd be pretty shocked. Ladarian's is a freaking stud.
He's
But
good. I'm gonna give that to you. Pretty good.
you
But
see what I'm saying? Like I'm
listen to
gonna be
this.
honest with you.
I'm
Like,
gonna blow your mind. You ready for this?
yeah, give it to me.
Lockett and Blaze. Are you ready for this?
Uh-huh.
Lockett and Blaze have wrestled in 3 Ironmans. So that's 6 Ironmans total between Ladarian Lockett, D Lockett, and Marky Blaze.
Uh-huh.
How many titles do those guys have in 6 Ironmans?
You're holding up six. Do they have six?
They have two, one each.
Wow.
Both
I
as
think that's like
freshmen.
five or something.
Both as freshmen. Both as
Wow.
freshmen, and neither guy has won it since.
Yeah. That's the
Did you know?
tournament.
Did you obviously didn't know that? But is your mind? Are you now like, oh,
Yeah. I mean, I got to watch
Hey,
both of them last year, so like I know who they're losing to. They're losing, you know what I mean?
yeah, of
But
course.
it's freaking wild, man. Like those guys are a notch above
Yes.
that to drop that
They're both
stack that
world
haven't won it in
champions.
three
They're both
years.
world champions.
Crazy,
That's
crazy,
wild, right? And Blaze,
absolutely
obviously,
wild.
Blaze is scratching the surface of being mentioned in the GOAT conversation.
Yeah,
I mean, he's doing Kyle Snyder, Henry Cejudo, um, uh, Joe, what's Carr, Jimmy Carr things, right?
yeah,
He's doing Jimmy Carr stuff. Jimmy Carr made the Olympic team at 17.
yeah.
He was the Olympic alternate at 16, 17. Like it's crazy to look what he's done, but that puts the Ironman in perspective. When you say, Coach Clymer, that
Yeah, it really does.
knowing that D Lockett and Marky Blaze wrestled in six of them and both have titles, and both of their titles were as freshmen.
3 years ago already. Yeah, it's wild, man. It's absolutely wild.
Dude, that's crazy. That's crazy. But don't you believe in your guy? Who's the taller one of the two? Who's the real bad matchup? Whitemore?
Stein is the really lengthy guy. He'll be
How
at
tall
50.
is he? You said 6'10". I figured you were exaggerating.
Exaggerating slightly. He's probably 6'2".
Is he that big? He's a
Yeah.
50. He's,
He's
is
going
he is
150.
he 52? What is he? 57?
Yeah, he's going 150 for Ironman. He'll be a 52 pounder during, the rest of the PIAA season, but 150. Yeah,
6'2", 150.
bro. And that like he didn't necessarily want to do that, but just how stacked the team is. Like you were all excited. Like all these guys come back. That's your lineup. Like, yeah, but there's three guys in those middleweights that like we could be talking about in this tournament, and they're not even starters. You see what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
Max is doing something for himself, but also for the team, and cutting to 150 for the start of the year here, and it's friggin' tough, man. It was really tough for him last week, but it has sharpened his mind, and so I would not be surprised if he won the tournament was a W, because he does have that talent to him, same as Kale, but yeah, that stat of Ladarian and uh, the other Perrysburg kid,
Blaze.
Blades,
So,
it's
okay, what
crazy
are all
cool.
the commitments? Give me the commitment list. Where are all your guys who are who have committed? You can commit whatever age you want to now at this point, right? Who's
Yeah.
committed and what into what schools?
Yeah, so I guess it's pretty much just Adam Waters who hasn't decided. It's probably between Ohio State, Missouri, and maybe Virginia Tech on that list, for Adam. But everyone else is committed that can. Gage Viterro, he's going 126 this weekend. He's going to Michigan. Um, the twins, Mason Wagner and Shane Wagner. Mason's going 144 this weekend. Shane lost to Chase Hans in a wrestle off. Shane Wagner has a win over Melvin Miller like a year ago, year and a half ago, and then lost to him. He filled in for like some some tournament a
Wait,
month
you
or
have a
two
guy that's
ago.
not going to be in your lineup who's beaten Melvin?
Yeah. Yep. So the
What is
twins,
this? What is this?
wow, it's wild. And he in the same tournament, he lost to who's the state college kid that's out at Arizona State now?
Halo headgear.
Yeah,
It's the 10th one of them. God, what is it? Manville.
Manville. He lost to him in ultimate tiebreaker in that same tournament. Like, and he's not in the starting lineup. He lost to Chase Hans, but both of them committed to the same school. Their older brother just went to Little Rock at Arkansas.
Okay. Okay.
Um, as they're both juniors. Chase Hans committed to the alma mater, Hofstra University.
Oh,
Pump, Strong Island, baby. Max Stein is going to UPenn.
oh, he's a dummy. He's a dummy, huh?
Yeah, he's dumb. Dude, the team GPA 3.93. They all have great parents and great upbringings that push them academically and very disciplined in the classroom. Can't speak highly enough. Mark Effendian's going to Princeton, the
Another
heavyweight.
dummy. Another dummy.
Another dummy. Jay Singer at 215 and Kale Weidemoyer at 160 are both committed to Lehigh.
Oh my gosh.
Another dummy.
You guys are
Um,
yeah, two more dummies, right? Dude, how do you
man,
hey? So
I'm
it's
gonna feel
crazy.
horrible if I'm leaving somebody off. I
That
think that's where we're at right now.
Okay, so when you look at this, right,
Yeah.
you preach these things clearly from the commitments, the college commitments. You're doing things right.
Yeah.
What would you say to a young
I'll quickly
coach?
point to their like them and their parents, man. If you obviously understand that there's like a sacrifice from a lot of different people. Like I do sacrifice as a coach. My wife, who's in the room at the other end here, like she sacrifices a lot in our kids and everything. But like I'm telling you, these kids and their parents, um, yeah, a lot should be pointed back at their home lives. You know what I mean? I remind them often just to be grateful because not everybody comes from a home life that supports you and hustle with you and sacrifice for you. So as I look back at it, I am proud of our whole coaching staff and program and school, but man, give the parents some props. They raise their kid the right way, position them around the right people and sacrifice financially and all of a sudden their kids are, enjoying these college opportunities. So yeah, it's really cool to watch.
Doing everything right. What would you say to a young coach? Obviously, your wife must be a huge part of what you do. She
Yeah.
was crazy enough to leave Long Island to move to the Lehigh Valley or just outside of it. So I got to give her some props. But that's tough a lot of educators, man, they really don't want to leave education. I know because
Yeah.
I'm a teacher. I know what's it like when you want to make that jump and leave education and go out into being a contractor.
Like what's it like just as far as the differences or
Yeah, well,
like
I mean, what was that jump like? And was your wife supportive of it? Did you just do it without, I mean, how did that work out? And how do you like just do all the right things like you're clearly doing?
so I think like again for me, like my faith is what defines me. And so like I'm definitely not perfect. I don't do everything the right way, but man, when we have a decision to make, like we communicate with each other. We don't do it quickly. We pause, we spend time to pray about it, we spend time asking people about it and a lot of people it's a popular thing to ask me because my kids are growing up a little bit. Like, are you coming back next year? You coming back next year? You're gonna keep coaching? Like every single year I say the same thing. Like we're going to finish the season and then my wife are going to talk about it. And then we're going to pray about it and then we're going to make a decision. And, the likelihood is that, we're going to keep wanting to pour into these kids and families and hustling. But, that would be my biggest thing. My wife was supportive of the move, especially from the standpoint of like, man, it was just consuming me a little bit. Like I love getting to teach and I love getting to coach, and all of a sudden I'm doing like 18 other different things. Um, and it was zapping me a little bit mentally. It was keeping me from coming home and enjoying my wife and our son Colton um and so she was supportive of it, but like the biggest thing I would try to communicate to somebody is just, man, spend enough time pausing and talking about it and pray about it. Ask people, that you respect their advice. And then, I've had kids leave the program, Zeb. Pardon me, real quick. Is the charger around? Yeah.
Oh, we got a quick chart. We got to get that, dude. We don't want
Yeah.
to die here. We got to keep,
Quick
gotta,
charger break. We need this
gotta get
charger.
that charger break. Okay. So
I've ignored it for 20 minutes. But I would say uh, like there's kids that have left our program and like we have a great relationship, but their plight is, yo, I'm not a starter. I want to go like be able to showcase myself and whatever else. And I give them the same advice. Pray about it, talk with your family. And you know what? If the best decision is for you to go to another school, jump in. If you've done the job of pausing and considering the pros and cons and talking about it, like receiving counsel. Coach Kroll is a mentor of mine. I don't know if you know Dave Kroll from Nazareth. Like I know he's a mentor to like a gazillion people, but like he just talks a lot about that, like receiving counsel of people that have gone before you. So if you've done all those things, there doesn't become a point where you just go, all right, maybe there's a gray area still, or there's a couple different options that both line up. Just go attack one of them. Don't be that guy that's like constantly caught in the middle. Like, and I give that advice to guys that are like leaving the program. Like, if you're staying here, then attack it, even as a backup, man. Just be all in. If you got to go, just go and keep enjoying life because you don't know what tomorrow holds and these years of being able to compete and everything like that are just going by so quick. So don't get caught. Don't get caught in the middle, man. Go attack something. So
your
yeah,
schedule's murder. Your schedule is just a bloodbath. You
Yeah.
go right from this. You guys go. You start out Iron Man. You go
Yeah.
Iron Man. You go Beast. Is it Iron Man into Beast? Is that back to back?
We host a team from Scranton, Pennsylvania, next Friday night in between Iron Man and Beast. That's Wyoming Seminary. And so
You do?
that
What do you do? That's
think about
that's
that.
your that's what you're doing to prepare. I
Yeah.
love it. I just love the lack of hiding in the schedule.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah. We
nowhere to
wrestled a
hide.
team, wrestled a team Chaminade this past Saturday from Long Island. One of my Hofstra buddies, All American Justin Accordino, he's one of the coaches up there. And they got some tough kids. One of them actually beat Gage Matero. Um, so we opened up with that duel, which was nice just to get guys down to weight. And then it's brutal. And it doesn't help that our weight classes in Pennsylvania are different than the Ohio weight classes because now like you have guys that are going to be weighing in on day one of Ironman at like Cale Whitemore's wrestling 165, but 5 days later he's got to be at 160 for Sam, and so he's got to weigh in at 162.4 and follow a descent plan, and like yeah, it's brutal on a couple of different levels, but um you know, I think the kids trust that we do have a wisdom to us. Like if there's an injury or something, like yeah, we might have to not attack the sem match with all of our guys, or we might not have to take down like the whole slate of guys to beast or whatever. Like we want to keep you healthy and peaking at the right time. But at the end of the day, December needs to be a punch in the mouth. Like you need to see where you're at. You need to put stuff on film. You need to see what's looking back at you in the mirror. Can you survive an Iron Man and then cut back down and be mean and grateful for an opportunity to host Sam, and then Christmas is looming and you put it right back on and go to Beast. Like that's a tough thing, man. But if you want to be called the best team in the nation, if you want to be prepared to wrestle McDevitt, McCourt later in the year, like you have to have gone through some of that stuff and not been emotional towards it. So I'm confident the guys will do well.
What do you have after Beast? Do you don't do Powerade or anything like that, do you?
No, and that's part of the reason we pushed. Like it's probably 2 years ago, we tried out just not doing anything over Christmas. And it was received really well by like the families and everything. Like let's load it up and then let's take a healthy break. We're still practicing and doing different things, but yeah, they've really appreciated just that pause. And then we come back. We'll go up to Pontiac in Rhode Island. They came down to us last year, so we're going up to them. They're like a top 30 team. We'll wrestle them in Green Farm Academy out of Connecticut. They're like a top 20 team. So we'll wrestle a little tri meet there to start out the new year. And then it's like Escape the Rock is a big tournament. Um,
It's a tough tournament, dude.
yeah, tough tournament. Cold Cracker is probably not like on your list, but that's a pretty good tournament. Some SEM guys would come down to that, and there's a bunch of other like local teams just in the Lehigh Valley, District 1, District 3 area. Um, that's like later in January. So, and like all of that to say, what's probably bigger for some of the guys in mentioning that whole schedule is the wrestle offs that we do. You know what I mean? Like you're talking about this amazing schedule, but like we're gonna start January with wrestle offs, and like there's still a situation that could play out of like Joey Bachman and Gage Butero wrestling off for a spot. Or like what if Freddie doesn't cut to 13 well and we got to pull the plug on it now, like he's bumping up into the mix with his brother and Gage Butero, and we lose a weight class going into our January schedule. So there's another crunch up in those middle weights with the likes of Nick Singer and Shane Wagner and Kale and Max and Chase, and like those wrestle offs are a lot of times like even bigger to the kids than the Ironman tournament is. Like Ironman's really tough. It's a lot of pressure, but I'm glad I'm one of the guys going because I could have been not the guy and no one's talking about me at all. So yeah, we have 3 different wrestle offs throughout the year too. So it's a
Wow.
grind, man, but makes the kids more emotionally ready. If you can stomach all that, you could probably stomach a big stage at the Giant Center. So
When you guys start your state series, how many weeks does it take between the duels, the districts, regional, whatever your whip heels, their whip heels, that's how they qualify out of the whip heel, right?
yeah, yeah, they got a
They
league out
qualify
there.
for state out of the WPIL, right?
Yeah. That's
Okay.
that's Western PA. That's not
That's
us.
why I know, yeah, that's
Yeah,
Western.
yeah,
You guys are
yeah.
District 1.
Correct.
District, okay, so their whip heel is your District 1. You got to qualify to District 1. They got to qualify to whip heel. You all go to Hershey.
Yeah.
Okay. How long is the whole thing with the duels? And does it coincide over like a 6 week? How long does that final sprint take?
So it's basically a month. The first weekend in February is district dual championships. Um and so let's call it February 2nd, and then individual states is March 6th, 7th, 8th. So it's basically a month and a week. It's yeah, right about 5 or 6 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. But we have district dual championships are not difficult. State dual championships are, and then we have a weekend off, and then our district championships, same thing, are not difficult. Like the District 1 AA is not like very competitive. And so um, it's not it's a grind like breaking down film and still showing up and trying to find one more corner to turn, from a conditioning standpoint, but it's not a crazy toil. Other than you're probably somewhat injured and you've gone through a gauntlet of a schedule. But it is nice that we're not like breaking our backs every single weekend.
You do realize you have room for error because your schedule is that tough. You get that, right? Like
Yeah,
you don't have to win everything for you guys to win the Willie Saylor, Josh Lowe national title. Like you have room for error because you guys are like what Alabama's been in the past. You're
sure.
playing such a you're wrestling such a tough schedule. Like they played such a tough schedule. There's room. There's wiggle room.
Yeah,
You can lose that duel to Sem, right?
yeah,
I mean, you just can. It's just how it is. Because
yep,
then you'd have to beat him at Iron Man. You'd have to beat him at Beast, right?
yeah,
You beat him 2 out of 3 times. There's room for error. It's
yeah,
not over if you guys or McCourt gets you somewhere, right? Like, or you get whatever, you go back and forth with them. There's still room to win the national title. You do realize that, right?
yeah. I do. And a lot of it'll come down to if Sem is considered better than McCourt. There, I don't believe Sem is at Beast. I could be dead wrong in saying that, but I don't think they're at Beast,
That's probably me being wrong.
and I don't think they're at Escape the Rock. So like, if Sem is considered the top dog and we don't beat that at Iron Man or our dual meet, then something has to happen like on their end throughout the season for them to get demoted. Like we wouldn't have a chance to to trump them. But if McCourt is considered better than Sem, and somebody kind of reads into it like Faith did not have all their starters early in the year, and they end up beating McCourt when it's all said and done. Like yeah, there's definitely some wiggle room there.
I'm
But we'll
guessing
see.
you don't think about it much. I'm guessing you're like, yeah, I don't even control whatever. Whatever scenario, who cares, right? Like
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
here to show up, get the kids into, they're focused on their faith, be good people, help other people, get into a good college, or come let me work you like a dog doing concrete.
I'm a construction man. Come on.
All right, Ben. Hey, do you have anything else for me, man? You got any stories? Anything else good?
Oh, I mean, I have a lot of stories.
Give me your
Anything else
best.
good?
Give me your best Strong Island story. Give me a good Hofstra story.
Oh my goodness. I
If you don't have to, dude. It's cool.
well, a lot like my mind goes to a lot of like I'm talking about my faith, and it is important. Like there was probably a stretch in there in my college years where I was not so much known as a follower of Christ. And so when you ask for my best Strong Island story, like my mind goes to like I stole a bouncer's jacket and he just about beat me to a pulp until somebody told him like this guy's one of the wrestlers. He's all right. And that guy was John Volante. Chris Weidman was another one of his buddies. And like there was a lot of big UFC guys that roamed the hallways of Hofstra and the Hempstead Turnpike that I almost had run-ins.
Did you train with Weidman?
So Weidman, that's my boy. I love Chris. He's amazing, and he absolutely beat me to a pulp a number of different occasions. He he was a undergrad assistant, so he was just doing his student teaching my freshman year. So we were not teammates, but that's when he was like really starting his fighting career, and so he would come into the room and basically like do his conditioning by way of coming to a Hofstra wrestling practice, right? And so I was his guy. Like, come here, Ben, we're gonna wrestle 5 minute goes with 30 seconds break or a minute break in between. And I would cringe when I'd see Chris come into the room, like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. And so, but that was really cool for me because as Chris started to like develop a name for himself, it's not that he couldn't go find a better training partner than Ben Clymer from Hofstra University, but like we had a familiarity with each other. I wasn't necessarily trying to like one up this, UFC champ all of a sudden. So he kept having me be his guy for the wrestling end of it, some of the conditioning, and that was definitely just an awesome thing to get to be a part of. So yeah, I love
Five
Chris.
5 minute goes. You know why it was 5 5 minute goes? Do you know why?
That's a title fight, baby.
Title fight, baby. Exactly. You get
Title
it.
fight, baby.
He probably
No
let you
doubt.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. So he was yeah. I'm not like a huge poker player, but Kevin James, Kevin James?
Yeah.
I made it to the final table of a big poker tournament and got to play alongside Kevin James. He knocked me out of the tournament, which was still kind of cool. I took third. I think he took second or first. I don't know.
Was it Atlantic City? Where was it?
Just like a fundraiser of sorts for the Hofstra wrestling team.
Kevin James comes to Hofstra
Yeah.
Wrestling fundraisers.
Dude, that's Long Island for you, man. There's big wigs there. It's not the cornfields of Pennsylvania where like
Yeah, you're
the
right.
Clymer family is the
Hey,
most popular
nice
people you're gonna
guy.
see. He's the
Kevin
man.
James, nice guy.
Kevin James is the man. He loves Ray Longo, the gym up there that has produced a bunch of UFC champs. Like he'll go and train there from time to time. He lives right by it, and so he's he's a staple to that area. Yeah, he's the man.
I love it. I
So
love it. Hey, all the years at Hofstra, were you guys ever in the CAA? Were you in
yeah.
the were you in the EIWA too?
No, no, I was never a part of the EIWA. I was only a part of the CAA. I believe so. I wrestled 4 years, finished in 2012, was still doing my student teaching like the following year, but like didn't have eligibility. And that's the year I believe they started the EIWA. Started
You
like
just
they
missed
joined
it.
with the EIWA. So
You just missed it.
I just missed it by a year. That's correct. Yep.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, Long Island is an interesting thing. Were you on any teams with Mike Pasillo?
No. So he followed Tom Ryan out to
Yeah.
Ohio State. That's the right guy, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
When a bunch of my teammates like had Mike Priscilla stories, and we hosted Ohio State my freshman year. Um, it was I don't know if you ever remember this video circulating.
Is it the Martin Floriani? Wow, wow. With
No,
Ruggiero?
yes, with Ruggiero.
Ruggiero.
He
Wow.
gets back arched by
What
what's
did
his
he do?
face?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, who back arched him? Why don't I know this?
Reese Humphrey.
Yes, Reese Humphrey back arched him and got a penalty point against him. Like
Wow.
they actually docked Humphreys a point,
But
and he still ended up beating Ruggiero.
Martin was like, wow. What?
Yes, now I see what you're saying. I thought you were dropping a name on the
No,
announcer,
he was
like
saying, wow.
freaking. So that was the duel, and I was going to wrestle Priscilla, but they bumped me up to like Cody Gardner or something like that. Who
Cody
was
Magram.
what's that?
Cody Gardner.
Cody Gardner. I think he's since passed. But he was like a highly touted like
He's the number
freshman.
one recruit in America from Christian
Yeah,
school.
yeah. Then that
Yeah.
I bumped up to 97 and beat him. That was one of my better claims of fame in college. There's not many that I can draw from, but that was one of them. But probably otherwise, I would have stayed at 84 and lost to Priscilla because he was tough.
What was your best finish at the NCAA tournament? You qualified all 4 years, right?
I did not qualify my freshman year. I lost overtime matches to Doug Umbauer. Umbauer?
Jersey Fresh. Jersey Fresh.
Is that it?
Rider guy. Jersey Fresh.
Ryder guy, and he went on to take third. And Patterson, who ended up being Binghamton's first ever All-American. And so that was my true freshman year. Like I, lost to those guys in overtime. Both of them were All-Americans. Like sky was the limit. And I qualified for the national tournament the next 3 years, but never went any better than 1 and 2. I'd like to think I still like train hard and I was like a gifted athlete and I really think I had a high ceiling, but I just got caught up a little bit in Long Island and probably lost just a little bit of my edge, but still grateful for the health to be able to compete for 4 years and be at the national tournament for 3 of them, and I don't regret my time there at all, man. I love Long Island.
Got your wife.
I found a wife that I'm so undeserving of. If there's any advice, as you were asking me that question earlier, I share it with a lot of people. There's this guy named Chris Mary. You ever hear of this guy? He's like a national Hall of Fame sort of coach. It's not Cumberland Valley, Chambersburg. Maybe it's not Chambersburg either. Somewhere in Western PA. But this guy, Chris Mary, look up his name. And I got introduced to him at Powerade tournament a couple years ago. And the coach that introduced me to him was like, this guy was national coach there. He did this, he had this team, he had that team, whatever. And when Chris Mary got the opportunity to talk, he's like, all I want to be known for as a champion husband and father. That's how I want to be introduced. That's what's important to me. And I still to this day text with them and check in with them because there's not been, really a more profound thing that I've heard from somebody. Like it just stuck with me. Like, yeah, that's it. I don't want to veer from that course either because I do have an amazing wife and God's gifted us with 4 little kids. Very impressive
Four
little
kids.
kids. We got 4 little ones, all under 5 years old, Zeb. All under 5 years old. So
dude, you're crazy.
It's crazy.
You're crazy.
I'm not crazy.
Oh my God. You have 5 kids. You have 4 kids under the age of 5.
Yeah, that's what we got going on.
Oh my God, are they all sleeping right now? They gotta be.
They are all sleeping. They were before the loud guy on the screen woke them all up.
Oh, dude,
you putting them back to bed, Kaylee? I'm sorry. Zeb apologizes.
I'm sorry.
Nah, you're good, man.
Coach Clymer. On that note, we are going to wrap this up.
That's good.
Thank you for the time. Stick around. I appreciate you, sir.
Got it.
And we will see you at the Walsh Ironman this weekend, Friday and Saturday at Walsh Jesuit. We're going to Faith Christian Academy. It's going to be fireworks. I can't wait to see what we're going to see out of you guys. Stick around, Coach.
You're the man. Thanks, Zeb.